First time I came to New Smyrna Beach was 64 years ago. Might tell you how old I am. I live in Ormond Beach. I've lived there for 37 years, moved there after I came out of the U.S. Air Force. I was honored to serve as a dentist in the Air Force. I practiced dentistry full time. I believe to whom much is given, much is expected. I've been blessed. I've tried to do my share in my community. I was the Ormond Beach mayor from 2002 to 2010. I served in the Florida House from 2010 to 2012. The issues that I want to go back to the Florida House and work on are jobs in the economy, education, environment, and states' rights. We need somebody that's willing to stand up to the leadership of both parties, somebody that's willing to go across the aisle and work with people from both parties to do what makes it better for the community at home. I was honored to receive the Defender of Home Rule Award from the Florida League of Cities, one of 3 out of 120 state representatives to receive that award because I stood up for local government. I said, get the state out of the local government, get the feds out of the state. We need to allow the least government closest to the people. Is that the 70 or the 90? So I ask you to come over to the booth. Our website, electfredcostello.com, will tell you lots of positions. I'm an open book. I'm transparent. I'm ready to serve. I love my community. I love paradise, which is East Volusia. God bless you all. Godspeed. Thank you for being here.
And next up to the podium, also running for State Representative of District 25, is Noelle Cheryl Bickford.
Hi. Thank you all for being here. I am the new voice. I would like your vote to send some change to Tallahassee. If you believe that public funds should go to public education, then you need to vote for Noelle Bickford. If you believe that the legislature ought to get out of the business of playing doctor to women, you need to vote for Noelle Cheryl Bickford. If you believe that we missed an opportunity to not take the Medicaid funds when they cover 1 million Floridians, many of them veterans and their families, you need to vote for Noelle Bickford. I have a booth, I have a website, come over and see me because our grassroots campaign is all about talking to each one of you individually. I'm Noelle Bickford, I'm running for State House 25. Thank you.
Thank you, Noelle. Next up, running for State Representative of District 27 is David Santiago.
Good evening, folks. Thanks for having me today, and thank you to the members of the Chamber for hosting this event. It's important that we continue to find ways to get the public to get engaged in the process and see what candidates, at least have some brief time to talk to them. Because usually you only see the stuff that comes across the mail or see what's on TV. But I'm running for the House District 27. This is my re-election. I've served 2 years there. Those of you that don't know the district, it serves from portions of New Smyrna Beach, portions of Edgewater, all of Oak Hill, goes across Osteen and goes into southwest Volusia, into Orange City, DeBerry, Deltona, Lake Helen, Osteen, and those general areas up there. But I'm running again to continue the work that I've started. I think it's been very clear that I've been focused on improving and promoting Volusia County as a whole, and how do we continue to make Volusia County an instrumental player in Tallahassee. I've long felt that a lot of the influence goes into other regions with. I think we're making progress. I've been focused strongly on economics, working on job training, education, continue to attract more jobs to Florida, and these are the things that help to revive a state and show us different from other states. And I think the work that we've started here within the last several years is working. Florida is doing much better than the majority of the states in the nation, so they're actually looking at us to see what are you all doing to improve your economy so much faster than the majority of the other states. So thank you. Vote for David Santiago, District 27.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker will be Mr. Bob Garcia, also running for State Representative District 27.
Thank you very much for having me here tonight. My name is Bob Garcia. I'm running for District 27 because of my 47 years experience in the military, my military background and education, my involvement in the community. But let's get down to the point. If we want to really move Florida, we must start lifting our people. We must start investing in our people. You know, we got people that are homeless here. We got 5,500 people that are homeless in Volusia County. But we end up giving big money to big corporations, $3 million. Do you know what you could have done with that $3 million? You could have built a facility for the homeless. We sit here and we talk about our environment. for the last 30 years since I've been down here, the environment has been going to pot. Do you know for the last 40 years, 50% of your wildlife has deteriorated. It's not coming back. What's that going to do to us? What impact is that going to have for the future of the Barry? We must address the environment, the water issues. How do we turn around and continue to provide and expand in Florida if we don't address the needs of the people? You know, I had elected officials that turned around and told me we don't have a problem until we open up the faucets and no water comes out. What kind of politician is that? If you want to lift people, there's a new report that just came out. 1.7 million people, if you lift them and you help them out and you raise the minimum wage, $7 billion will be saved. So it's time that we start putting the people first and not big business, big corporation, or special interests. And that's what I'm going to Tallahassee for. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next up for running for circuit judge is Kathy Weston. Kathy?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. I appreciate your interest in all of the political races. I'm Kathy Weston. I'm a native of Volusia County. I've been here for, nearly all of my 44 years. I graduated from Seabreeze High School. I'm a former Daytona Beach police officer. I went to Stetson, where I got a degree in accounting, and after that I went to Notre Dame Law School. I practiced in Chicago with the world's biggest law firm for a time, decided I wanted to come back home, and I moved back to the area about 10 years ago with my 4 kids. I'm really involved in the community. I have volunteered at all 4 of my children's schools. I am a longtime Rotarian. I'm on the Budget Advisory Board for the City of Ormond Beach. My community runs long and deep, and it's a big part of who I am. I have been a trial attorney for 15 years, though, and that's why I want to be your next circuit court judge. This is a retirement caused this opening, and that's why I'm running. I want to make sure we get somebody in there who's going to be a hard worker, who's going to move cases along. And you all might have had this unfortunate experience, but it takes sometimes 60 to 90 days to get in front of a judge, and I don't find that to be acceptable for our citizens. I've been endorsed by 7 retired circuit and appellate judges. I'm very proud of that. Former State Attorney John Tanner has also endorsed me, as well as the Volusia Deputies Association, so I'd appreciate your consideration. I'm Kathy Weston. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right. Next up running for the school board is Linda Cuthbert.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. I'm a 28-year resident of the New Smyrna Edgewater area. In 1986, when I moved here from Cincinnati, as a teacher, I was hired by David Hinson at New Smyrna High School. It's nice to see everyone, so many of you are familiar, because it only took me 10 minutes to get here. It's lovely. As a teacher, I was a peer tutor, department chair. I served on school and district committees. I was a cheerleading coach, and mother. I think it's very important that as parents we understand how the school board works. It's even more important when educators understand how the school board works. It sets policy. I have seen what doesn't work. I've experienced what does. I've been involved in Common Core training. I'm ESOL certified. I'm still certified educator. I have a passion for education. I seek no other office. I've been retired since 2012. I would like to get back into education. I miss it terribly. When school boards make policy, it impacts students, taxpayers, business people, as well as the employees, and also their children. I want children's voices to be heard. I know the impact upon them. I understand testing. I understand so much of what happens to them on a daily basis in the classroom. And we need that view on our school board. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you, Linda. All right. Next at the podium is a candidate for County Council at Large, Joyce Cusack.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Welcome to New Smyrna, my hometown. I was born in New Smyrna on Shelton Street, and I used to fish many, many days right here on this river. So I'm glad to be at home, for this is God's chosen country, New Smyrna Beach. I'm Joyce Cusack, and I'm running for the Volusia County Council at large. I'm running for re-election. I have served one term on this council, and I believe, as Fred Costello said, to whom much is given, much is required. I want to make sure we save this beautiful land for our children and our children's children. I am instrumental in doing those things that provide a common sense approach to government. In New Smyrna, we have done well with our CRAs. I'm a strong component advocate for CRAs. Your downtown CRA, and I know you have one that's coming. So I want you to know that I want to partner with you. I want you to know that it's important that we have economic development and economic empowerment, because when we work together, much can be accomplished. And I know that when you choose Joyce to make that decision on the county council, you will know that I have the interest of all of the citizens in Volusia County in my mind. I'm a nurse by profession. I was married to my husband, Charles Cusack, for 48 years. I have 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren. Remember, make Joyce your choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Next up to the podium, also running for county council at large, is Patricia Northey.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber for putting this event on. I want to acknowledge my husband back there, Ed Northey, Vietnam veteran, and we've been married 45 years. Thank you, honey. He doesn't come out to these too often, but came tonight. I want to introduce you to my grandchildren. This is Jacob. Jacob loves sports. This is Morgan. Morgan's a bit of a country girl. She likes to go out and play and climb trees. And then there's Lauren. Lauren is our artist. She's a little diva. Why do I share this with you? Because while they all have differences of interest, they have one thing in common, and that is the future. And that is why I'm running for the Volusia County Council at large position. And if you think we need leadership on the County Council, I would ask you to take a look at my record, past and present. I chair the Tourism Development Council. I chair the Transportation Planning Organization. I'm past immediate chair of the St. Johns River Alliance. I chaired the Historic Courthouse renovation. I chaired Abuse Advisory Board, and one of my early chairmanship was legislative chairman for this PTA, Volusia Council of PTAs. That's actually where I got my start. Past president of Boys and Girls Club. I'm a member of Rotary since 1994 and received a Paul Harris Leadership Award, Healthy Start Award, and I would ask you to go to my website, patnorthey.com, to get the rest of my information, but I would encourage you to name any issue and you will find me leading the charge for responsible governance, economic development, health and human services, the environment, transportation, and of course those beautiful trails that are coming countywide, and in fact we have a ped overpass coming out of the ground right now in Edgewater. I ask for your vote when you go to the polls or when you vote early or if you vote absentee. Please vote Pat Northey for Volusia County Council at large.
Thank you, Pat. You guys are all behaving so well. Next up, for running for the City of New Smyrna Beach mayoral candidates, first up will be Jack Grasty.
Hello, I'm Jack Grasty, and I'm running for mayor for New Smyrna Beach. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this Hob Nob. I welcome the opportunity to tell you why I want to be your next mayor. It's been my privilege to live and work in this city for over 40 years. Most of you know my background, so rather than dwell on what I want to tell you, my vision for New Smyrna Beach, I want to represent all citizens without regard for any special interest groups. I will be the people's full-time mayor. I will be able to you, the citizens, night and day, and I will work tirelessly to address your concerns and your problems. I pledge to you that I will be a strong advocate for you and will listen to your ideas, suggestions as we move forward. I am passionate about being a public servant, truly believe we have an obligation to maintain the integrity and honesty at all times no matter what the issue. You can be assured that I have no hidden agendas and will listen to you. I will also see the citizens have the opportunity to participate in public discussions at commission meetings, and you will always be respected and treated because you are citizens are the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Next up, also running for the City of New Smyrna Beach, mayoral candidate, Mr. Jim Hathaway. Hey, Jim.
Thank you, Chamber. Thank you, Rice, Rose, and Snell. Thank all of the sponsors who came and put this event on tonight. Thank each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and be educated on the candidates, because an educated electorate is the best electorate we can have, and let's hope that you make wise decisions when you go to the polls, either starting Saturday, or maybe you've already cast your ballot absentee, or you're still thinking on your absentee ballot. But remember, November 4th, that's the deadline. I'm Jim Hathaway. I'm a native son of New Smyrna Beach, 61 years here. I've served 18 and a half years on the City Commission of the City of New Smyrna Beach from 1994 to 2012. I served 5 years as your vice mayor. Before that, I was on the original CRA board in 1985. My family ran the Hathaway's food store. Those of you old-timers might remember it was on Flagler Avenue where Clancy's Canteen is now. I operated that business until 1990. Purchased the Pepperidge Farm distributorship here in Southeast Volusia, and have run that for the last 23 years. And I've already told in multiple debates that I'm going to be an economic engine when you elect me as your mayor. I'm hiring someone to run my business so that I can be your full-time mayor and will be your full-time mayor. I get up at 3 o'clock every morning right now, so that you don't bother me if you call me early in the morning. I'll answer your phone call. I'll answer your emails. But listen, I have a wonderful family here. My wife of 33 years. I've raised 4 children. I have 4 grandchildren. I'm a graduate of Stetson University School of Business. I was a commissioned to second lieutenant United States Army Reserve with an honorable discharge in 1983 at the rank of captain. I want to be your mayor. I'm bringing the business aspect that we all need to look at our budgets, and I thank you all for coming out. Vote Jim Hathaway. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. All right, moving along. For the running for the City of New Smyrna Beach Commission Zone 2 is Jake Sachs. Hey, Jake.
Good evening. I stand before you tonight hoping that you will elect me as your next commissioner. I have the courage to act, the desire to serve, and the ability to perform. As a former firefighter and paramedic for the city of Miami Beach, I soon came to realize that there is no higher calling than service to my fellow man. I want to continue the life of service as your commissioner. You can be sure that I will be attentive, impartial, transparent, and accountable. These are traits of the American public servant that you should expect and demand. In a conversation with one of my cherished neighbors, I told her that politician has become a 4-letter word, and she pointed her finger at my heart, and she said that 4-letter word was G-O-O-D, good. In large and small ways, I have strived to make the world better. I volunteer for river and beach cleanups with the Marine Discovery Center and Surfriders Foundation. I have successfully urged the cooperation of the city and county to place pedestrian-activated cross lights on South Atlantic Avenue. I have lowered the speed limit on South Atlantic Avenue, and most recently, the drawbridge section of North Causeway. Officials said it could never be done. I did it. I lowered the speed limit on those avenues. Proud of the Reasonable Assurance Plan, which will aid New Smyrna Beach and our neighboring communities in our efforts to repair our ailing Indian River and Mosquito Lagoon. No matter what the outcome of this election, I can tell you I will be there for you. Actions speak louder than words, and I'm a man of action. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. I'm going to go on this side. Why not? And next up, also running for the City of New Smyrna Beach Commission Zone 2 is Mr. Steve Sather.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to the Chamber. This is a phenomenal event, and Rice Rose as well. I'm Steve Sather. I'm a candidate for New Smyrna Beach City Commission. I'm a 27-year resident. I've served 4 terms on the Planning and Zoning Board. I've been involved in the city in many ways over the last 20 years. Come on over and you can see the long list. I don't need to read it here. Including serving on the initial committee that founded the Marine Discovery Center. It's my priority to preserve our environment, keep our quality of life, keep your taxes down, carefully manage our growth. I have endorsements from our current mayor and many prominent community and civic leaders. And remember this, the best leader is the best servant. I want you to let my experience work for you, and I'm prepared to serve on day one. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Moving on to the city of Edgewater, we have our first mayoral candidate, Mr. Gene Emter.
How you doing tonight? Good. As far as my background, qualifications and all that, I would just simply encourage you to go to edgewatermayor.com because that'll be all I could ever tell you here. What I would like to do is to talk to you about Edgewater, at least my vision in a very vibrant city for the next 4 years. If we have a council that is committed to goals for planning the growth of Edgewater while still maintaining the small town atmosphere, we will succeed. If you take a look around, what kinds of things do I see as a vision in the next 4 years? I see neighborhood improvement groups to discuss ways that we can partner to improve our neighborhoods over time, whether it be through homeowners association or youth groups or whatever. We have business communication groups to look at how small business and the city can support each other more effectively. Economic development is the byword of every town. But in Edgewater, it becomes important to provide shopping opportunities and better paying jobs for our residents. How do we do this? Voluntary annexation, Park Avenues developing, Park Town, the largest industrial park in Volusia County, is ripe for development. Was that it?
That's it.
Anyway, okay. That's my vision, or part of it anyway. You heard a small part of it. Let's get going. I just want to lead the team that makes it happen.
Thank you, Gene. Thank you. And next up, also running for mayor of the city of Edgewater, is Mr. Mike Ignatiak.
That 90 seconds is going faster and faster every time it comes through. Hi, I'm Mike Ignatiak, candidate for mayor. I'm running for mayor because I love Edgewater. I live there, several of my children live there, half of my grandchildren live there. I want to see Edgewater grow, but I do not want to see it change. We've got a lot of growth on the horizon, and it's coming sooner than we expect. If you don't control the growth, then the growth will control you. I was a product of South Florida. I grew up in a town that was similar to New Smyrna and Edgewater in the earlier years, and growth took over. And the problem was that the community began giving up its lifestyle and its values to get more and more growth, and pretty soon it turned into something nobody liked and nobody wanted. I don't want to see that happen up here. I want to maintain our lifestyle while we grow. The second reason I'm running for mayor is we're going to have no less than 2, maybe 3 new council members that are going to join our council with whatsoever in government. I have 36 years experience in municipal government system. I understand municipal government inside and out. You need someone up on that council to help direct and lead the conversations and ask the questions that need to be asked with growth that's coming. Because the questions you ask sometimes are more important than the answers you get. And I think I have that experience to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Also running for the Edgewater City Council District 1 is Chuck Martin. There you are. Okay. You brought props.
Hey everybody, I'm Chuck Martin, running for City of Edgewater City Council District 1. This boat right here, you know what it represents, okay? I had made this for my mother-in-law. She's a cancer survivor. She wanted me to find a survivor here tonight and give it to her. And guess what? I found one. It's Linda Cuthbert. Would every lady in here, before they leave, please sign this we want to give it to Linda Cuthbert. I made it at the Edge Fest and held it 100 feet in the air. I'm sorry, it was a trunk or treat. But she wanted to give this to somebody that was a survivor. It's Linda Cuthbert. Everybody, please sign it before you leave. I'm a 45-year resident here running for city council. My brother passed away June the 3rd. Before he died, he wanted me to run for mayor. I told him I wouldn't do it because out of respect for Mike Agnasiak, there's no way I could ever run against a police officer, especially retired. Just out of respect, there's no way I could do it. I've been in construction my whole life. I'm a construction worker. I'm a crane operator. I got 3 wives. 3 wives. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm not. I swear I'm not. No. I got 3 kids and 1 wife. I apologize for that.
That's on tape.
But no, I just wanted to say that, and that the lady I'm running against is a very beautiful person. That she's married and just a really good person, and she's done an awesome job. But thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Also running for Edgewater City Council District 1 is Christine Powers.
Christine Power.
Power, I know. Did I say yes? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens a lot. How are you doing? Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you, Chuck. That was very nice. I have 2 children, 1 husband, 1 dog, big dog. 2 years ago, when I ran for council, I had no idea what I was getting into, and now that I know, I'm happy that I did it. I've enjoyed my time working for the town. I've enjoyed meeting people, working for people, listening to people tell me what they would like to see happen, and I really would like to continue to help bring Edgewater into the future while still maintaining the small town. We are a town on the river, beautiful river. We have a lot of retired people, and we have people that do not want to have the highway be 12 lanes, and I'm all for that. I like the feel of Edgewater the way it is, but we need some small changes to help make it a better place for us all to live, to be a good complementary city to New Smyrna Beach. And I hope you guys remember power for the people of Edgewater when you vote on November 4th, or whenever you do fill out your ballot. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Christine. Running for the Edgewater City Council District 3, first up is Mr. Daniel Blasey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Blasey, and I'm running for Edgewater District 3 Council seat. My platforms are ecological preservation thing, because without that, all the other platforms mean nothing. After that, of course, is economic development, and the third platform that I'm running on is a renovation of our parks, and in particular, I want to facilitate and help create an all-inclusive park for our special needs residents. And that would be special needs children and adults with various handicaps, and to be able to have a place where everyone, not just ADA compliant, but complimentary. So it's a dream of mine, pipe dream. But anyway, those are my 3 platforms. And of course, you've all heard that before. You've heard economic development, and you've heard this and several other catchphrases. The thing is this. I've been in Edgewater since 1978, since I was a child. United States Marine Corps veteran, honorable discharge. I've been a police officer with the city of Edgewater over 21 years, retired sergeant. I have a deep-seated love for my community. I love the people here. I don't believe in us versus them syndrome. We can all work together. Because guess what? Corporations are made up of people. Government's made up of people. People, no matter what your level is, guess what? We're all individuals with families. And we all have that love for one another. So anyway, my name is Dan Blasey. I hope to get your vote. You do have information back there for you, and I thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Next up, also running for Edgewater City Council District 3 is Dennis Dalbo. Did I pronounce that correctly? Close. Yeah.
Close enough. Hi, everyone. How you doing tonight? My name is Dennis Dalbo. I'm running for Councilman, District 3. I'm not a politician. I'm a small business owner, nearly 28 years. I tossed my head into this arena because I want a better Edgewater. I love Edgewater. I'm for smart growth, for better paying jobs, new jobs, for better tax ratables for our city. I can't wait to secure the CRA so that we can spruce up our US 1 corridor. I've been in the community for 10 years now. I've been in the service industry for more than 3 decades. Now I'm ready to serve the residents and the businesses of the city of Edgewater. Dennis Dalbo, vote for me November 4th.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, now from the City of Edgewater City Council District 4, we have Gary Conroy.
Hello. I just have to warn you. You give an Irishman and a microphone and that little ding, and we might be here a while. I just want to introduce my wife. Augustina, could you stand up, please? Wave to everybody. Because behind every good man is a great woman. She self-appointed herself as my campaign manager. She said, well, you listened to me anyway, so I said, I guess it was a natural fit. I'm also a retired cop, and as you can see, my buddy Dan, retired cops eat well. I'm also a retired police officer from Edgewater. I just want to introduce yourself because, you know, when you come here in small town and you want to run for a seat, you know, it's a family decision. It wasn't just mine. We sat at the dinner table. I have 2 young boys. Nelson's first year of college. I don't know what happened to him, but he has a 4.0 now. I don't know where that switch was several years ago. He wants to go to FSU. He's going to be a Seminole. My son Patrick, who's 16 years old. It's a family effort. I don't make that decision. My aspiration is to always take a back seat to my family. So I just want to come up here and say hello. And my opponent will be up here next, Rob Wilkie. And I got to tell you, he's a great guy. When I became his opponent, I went to introduce myself to him. And I got to tell you, I'm on the fence. I might vote for the guy. He's so nice. So we're like-minded. We all involved with the children and programs in our community because they're our future. So Rob and I are like-minded. I'm for the CRA, the tax abatement. We need to, you know, Edgewater, I think, is a little gem in southeast Volusia. We're land rich, and we're ready to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Next up is Rob Wilkie, Gary's best friend, from Edgewater City Council, District 4.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Wilkie, running for District 4. Those of you that are from Edgewater, I want you to know everybody that's running over there really cares about Edgewater. I've sat with everyone. It's even hard for me to vote for almost anybody there because they're really likable people. As Gary said, me and him met. We talked and we decided, look, we're not going to say bad things about each other. We're just trying to make Edgewater a better place. That's all we're trying to do. I'm a family man, love sports, love kids, love my community, lived there for 28 years, owned a business there for 27 years. Every one of us are just trying to make a change. We want it to stay a small river town. I'm one vote out of 4 other people. I'm going to try to do the best I can. The only thing I can do is really listen to what the people have to say and try to be there, you know, and try to be as pure as we can be. I hope that every one of us just work together as a team. Whoever makes it, as long as we work as a team, Edgewater wins. I told my future wife, I said, you know, either way I win. I said, if I lose the election, I get to spend more time with my family. I said, if I win the election, I fight for something for my kids to have. I want my kids to have a really nice place to grow up and enjoy, and I think Edgewater's that town. So, Rob Wilkie for District 4. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. And we also had a late arrival, so I'd like to invite up running for Circuit Judge, Mr. Adam Warren.
My name is Adam Warren. I'm running for Circuit Court Judge. I apologize for being late. My area covers 4 counties, Volusia, Flagler, Putnam, and St. Johns counties. So I was on the other end of my area when earlier today. Anyways, I started my career at the State Attorney's Office prosecuting criminal cases. There, I prosecuted all levels of crimes, everything from capital murder to sexual battery, burglary, failing to properly register as a sex offender. And I was also involved, and not only at the trial court trying cases. I tried 70 cases, including trials, but I also was involved with the intake, making filing decisions in thousands of cases. I went on to work for Judge Winnie Berger at the 5th District Court of Appeals, making recommendations to affirm or reverse circuit court decisions in all areas of law, both criminal and civil, family law, contract law, medical malpractice, every area of law that could be appealed from the circuit court. And I'm running for judge because my parents taught me at an early age the importance of public service, which is why I have spent most of my career working for the government, working every day to keep our community safe. I will bring the highest level of professional ethics to the bench. My name is Adam Warren. I appreciate your vote on November 4th or before. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. All righty then. Well, that concludes the introduction. And now we'll move on to the real good stuff. We'll get to actually ask a few questions of our candidates, and as I explained earlier, we'll invite the candidates up in groups by their candidates. I'll ask them a couple of questions. So at this time, I would like to invite up to the podium Fred Costello, Noel Cheryl Bickford, David Santiago, and Bob Garcia. All right. Okay, so here's the rules. I'm going to ask you each a question. You'll be able to answer it. Step up to the podium. You'll have 90 seconds to respond to the question, and once you're done, just slide over, and then we'll change the order up because we have a second question. Okay, so first up will be Mr. Costello, and the question is, what do you see as the most important issue or issues that the Florida legislature should be dealing with in the next session and perhaps beyond?
Thank you. I believe that the environment is going to receive a great deal of attention because fortunately our Speaker designate, Steve Crisafulli, has made that water one of his top issues, as has Andy Gardner, the incoming President of the Senate. So I believe that the Indian River Lagoon and Gemini Springs, some areas in Volusia County that are desperately in need of help, will get some funding help and we'll get some relief for that. Secondarily, I believe education. Too many of our districts are including too many tests that aren't state mandated. So I think what we're going to do is do what we can to make sure that we streamline. We want only testing that benefits students, only testing that shows what the students know. That's what we need to do, is make sure our students graduate prepared for a pathway to success. Once we have the testing that shows what the students know, then we can release our teachers to teach those students the things that they're missing. So the environment and the education, I think, will be the two top issues that go along with jobs and the economy that's always there. I've always felt that Florida is such a wonderful paradise that people come from all over, and we simply have to get government out of the way of private enterprise to let the jobs grow. I'm assuming that was a 70, not the 90.
That was a 70, yep.
Okay. And so I mentioned in my earlier talk that education, the environment, jobs and the economy are the things that we need to work on. Healthcare, we've got to find a way to meet the healthcare needs of the people that are having problems with that now. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Well, I can repeat the question to anybody that wants it. So, Noel, you would be up next.
I'm a former hospital administrator. I know firsthand what it's like for people to be without insurance. And also I want to tell you that it costs us all a lot of money. And what we pay in our taxes for bad debt and charity care to take care of people in the emergency rooms when they don't have health insurance. I think the first thing that the Florida legislature should do is take on the Medicaid funds, the extension, and cover more Floridians. I think we'd also incumbent on us to find some other ways to actually cover the remaining 3 million Floridians who will still not have insurance. As far as education, I would like to see more focus on us actually building our public education, not so much on vouchers. I think that we're doing a great disservice to our children and to our teachers and to the administrators when we're not devoting public funds to public education. I think we have great challenges in terms of our environment. We are the Sunshine State. I'd like to see us do more with solar and alternative energy. I think some of those things are what we'd be looking at immediately. We should also probably revisit high-speed rail if we have an opportunity. So those are some of the things. We've got some major challenges. We'd like your vote so that we can work on those. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. David, same question?
Thank you. I think my friend Fred Costello hit it right on the nail right on the head. The water issue is going to be a huge topic for the legislature this year, and our incoming speaker has made that very clear. That's one of his major priorities, and I think rightfully so. Dealing with the pollutants issues that we're having in many of our different waterways, it has to be addressed. What the long-term plans are going to be there for us. Also, education, and I'll expand on that a little bit, and just talking about how we deal with somewhat of the debacle of Common Core, the implementation of Common Core, what we're going to do for the future. Even though we did make some changes this past year, I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done in that area. As he said also, too much testing is going on, so we need to continue to improve that area. I think Florida has made some huge strides as we, again, compare ourselves to the majority of the nation, but we still got more work to do. I'll add one additional thing that has been a huge focus for me is job training, the economics, and how do we make Volusia County attractive for corporations to come here. Unless we can have clear indication to corporations that we can sustain a good workforce, an educated, trained workforce, whether it's from the engineering to the skilled trades, companies won't come here. So we have to have a good plan throughout the state for job training and focus it obviously in Volusia County is one of my highest priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Bob?
The environment is definitely one of the most important things. For the last 6 years, I've been fighting to try and get the restoration of the bayou, city of the Barry, and also Gemini Springs. For too many years, we have ignored our environment here in this area, especially here on the waterway. We have thousands of septic tanks that are leaking in. We need to address it. But we also have to address the education in Volusia County. 60% of our schools are over 30 years old. 19% are over 20 years old. How are we going to meet the needs of the future? Common Core. We should delay it for at least 3 years to implement a good plan. You know, in Tallahassee, they always come up with good plans, but the idea is implementing them. Give teachers time, the opportunity to set it up, to really go forward. We should expand the healthcare system. That's very important. Think about it. You're going to pay one way or the other. If we don't address healthcare and expand it, you're going to pay through the indigent care. We talk about having one of the highest taxes in the state of Florida. One way of reducing it, by reducing the cost of indigent care. Too long we have been neglecting the issues of the people. The people must come first now. We have to, and I'll say it again, we have homelessness out here, but we give $3 million to a big corporation. We could build facilities. Let's start lifting our people out of poverty and give them an opportunity to the American dream and a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, well, let's shake the order up here. I think we'll ask this question, and we'll go with...
Hello.
No, actually, that wasn't what I was going to say. I'm going to ask David this question first.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. Let's keep you guys on your toes. The question is, and understand that all of these questions were submitted by citizens in our districts. The question is, do you support Amendment 2, which is the legalization of medical marijuana? And please explain your position.
I do not support Amendment 2. I'd be voting no on Amendment 2. specifically because I think the language as it was written is way too broad for Florida. Remember, as you've always said, the devil's in the details. Well, the details of this particular amendment, the way it's written, I think in the long term is bad for Florida. The legislature dealt with medical marijuana this past session, which I voted yes for, proudly voted yes for, which was good legislation to allow for legitimate people that have legitimate causes that have shown proven results to have medical marijuana to be dispersed to. You don't hear a lot about that in the media, but the fact is, as the process is being rolled out right now in Florida, it will be available shortly as all the rules are being worked out. This particular amendment is too broad and will have long-term impacts for Florida. The issue for marijuana, as far as, whether it's good, bad, and what are the long-term effects, I think it needs to be dealt with on a nationwide level, and it's scary for certain states to open this up. That'll be too broad, and I believe this particular piece of legislation will open it up way too broadly, and what you'll do is you'll see eventually marijuana everywhere, and one of the 3 or 4 states in the nation that has it. That's not the way to approach it. Medical marijuana is available for people who need it for legitimate medical issues.
Thank you, David. Bob?
Here we go. I'm for medical marijuana. Have you seen a person with cancer or a person that's served overseas and come back with combat fatigue? Or have you ever seen a child trembling? I have. For far too long. Look at the prescriptions that they approve now with the side effects, heart attacks. All sorts of liver damage and everything. Show me where marijuana is doing that. And we're talking about implementing it for people who need it with debilitating conditions. What they're trying to do is a smoke screen. They're trying to tell you it's going to go crazy. We're going to go wild. That this is a beginning to turning around and turning it into recreational marijuana. No, it is not. It is medical use. And if it's done right, and if it's regulated right, and if we turn around and institute the right dispensaries, and we have physicians that are willing to play by the rules, this can benefit many, many of the people in the state of Florida with these kind of conditions. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Fred, how about you take that next? Fred?
I'm a no on Amendment 2. Our sheriff is against it. The medical folks are against it. Let me tell you some of the reasons why I'm against it. There's no age limit. There's no mandate that parents be advised that minors are receiving it. It does not dictate what types of debilitating diseases. Is that a backache? What people claim is going on to receive it. I'm 100% in favor of anyone that has the ALS or many of the cancers and the different diseases that can benefit from the non-euphoric medical marijuana that the legislature this year. I will fight to continue that, to expand that, as long as it's regulated. But once you put it in the Constitution, it cannot be additionally regulated. You cannot then require that parents approve it for the minor receiving it because it's not in the legislation. Putting something in the Constitution is dangerous because you can't effectively regulate it later. Let's all agree that non-euphoric medical marijuana will benefit people that right now don't have access to it. Let's give them access, let's benefit them, but let's make sure we do it in a way that does not harm others.
Thank you, Fred. And same question, Noel Bickford.
I'd like to remind the audience why this amendment is on the ballot. The people in a large majority signed petitions because they did not believe that the state legislature would ever get around to this. So that's why it's on the ballot. It was the people of the state of Florida that signed these petitions. Now, however you feel about it personally, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. For each one of us, we either have that personal experience with someone, and for me it was my husband, who suffered with cancer. I know how much it would have benefited him. Not only him, but the anxiety level that it created, how much it would have benefited my children in the years that we spent with him, especially in the late stage of his disease. I'm going to vote yes because I honestly do believe that we can regulate this, that we can prepare our citizens, prepare our physicians. I do honestly, and again, you know I have a healthcare background. I believe the physicians will regulate, prescribe this appropriately for the people that really need it. That's my vote.
Thank you, thank you. How about a general round of applause for all of the candidates for our Florida House of Representatives? Thank you so much. You guys can go back to your seats now. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite up to the podium our two candidates for the County Council at Large. Joyce and Pat, would you come up? All right. Yay. All right. Well, we'll start this first question, and we'll do it. We'll ask the first question to. Both get the same question, but we'll start with Joyce from an answer. The first question sent in by the citizens of our district are: do you support CRA districts to promote economic development? And please explain.
Yes, I support CRAs. I know that 5% of our budget is utilized for CRAs. And I think that it is important that we understand that we must be partners with the cities. New Smyrna is a perfect example of how we can use and make a difference in a community with CRAs. Just walk down Canal Street. I think that it's very important that we be mindful of the fact that if we don't work together, we will sink together. So I think that CRAs have a place. Does it take away from other areas? I think that the people in every city has an opportunity and they pay taxes. And so I think that the CRAs help to utilize and help advance the cause for cities. And so I support CRAs. We just passed the CRA in Orange City. And I made that motion that we have that CRA. And that was my first time on the council to have the opportunity to vote for a CRA. And I'm very proud of the fact that we have CRAs and we'll continue to be partners, great partners with cities in Volusia County. When we work together, we make a difference together. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Pat, same question?
Thank you. Here's the exciting thing about what's happening over here on the east side between New Smyrna Beach and Edgewater. You have two cities who are looking at CRAs that run up along US 1 corridor. I don't know if any of you have ever traveled over to Seminole County and seen 1792. There is a series of CRAs that run across 1792 connecting the different cities. It has made a difference in that corridor. And I think that if Edgewater and New Smyrna Beach, and I haven't yet seen the proposals, I know they're coming to us shortly at council. I've had some conversation but have not seen the direct proposals. But if the CRAs marry each other, you can set up a corridor very much like you have in 1792 in Seminole County, where it will really be strong economic development. That's what it's going to take. It's going to, about 4 years ago, the county council came in and said, we had run amok on CRAs. Let's take a look at how we can change it, how we can work more collaboratively with the cities, and how the balance is best for the county and the cities together. We did that. We put in new requirements, and it seems as if everybody is happy with that. And I'm looking forward to next month when those CRAs come before us so we can take a look at them and see how we can marry the two CRAs.
Wow. Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right, the next question, and Pat, we'll give you this one first. This was sent in. Do you support the existing advertising authority system or combining the current advertising authorities under one combined entity?
I currently serve as the chair of the Tourism Development Council, which is primarily an organization that governs the Ocean Center. Every meeting that we have reports that come of the TAAs. Very different areas, West Volusia, Halifax, and the southeast area. I don't support combining them together. I do think that they work and play very well together. They work collaboratively. They have some joint projects that they're doing, but they each have different areas that they have specifically that they want to market. I know that New Smyrna Beach, Edgewater, Oak Hill does not want to be Halifax. You have all told me that. You don't want to be marketed with Daytona Beach. You have a different kind of lifestyle. And I can tell you the west side is a different, quieter place than it is over on the east side. No, I don't support combining them. I do support what they're doing now. They didn't used to work collaboratively, but they are working great together. And they come into the Ocean Center, to the TDC, and they give us updates. And it's really exciting to see some of the joint projects that they're doing.
Thank you. Joyce, same question?
Thank you so much. Yes, I believe truly that Mrs. North is correct. I think we need to have 3 independent or advisory boards as it relates to our for growth and for making sure that we have our advertising authorities. Oh, that's a senior moment. If you pass 30, you know they happen. And so I think that we are on the right track with at Halifax advertising, the Southeast advertising, and the West Volusia advertising authorities. I have worked with all 3 advertising authorities. They're working together collaboratively, and they're doing a great job. We need to encourage that more and more. And so I'm quite pleased. And I think that they all need to keep their autonomy and maintain the relationship that they have today. And I'm all for that, and I support the 3 independent advertising authorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you. Thank you. And just a reminder that you will have ample opportunity to ask all questions in the meet and greet after. So unfortunately, I have another commitment and I have to go. So I'm going to hand off the microphone and the balance of the questions to my friend and colleague, Mr. Jamie Calkins. So I will bid you a fond farewell and enjoy the rest of the evening. Good night.
Well, as he said, I'm Jamie Calkins. I am the current president of the Southeast Volusia Chamber of Commerce. And I'm delighted to see the turnout we have here. Thank you all for coming and showing how much you care about our community. We're going to bring up, we actually had another late arrival. I believe Mr. George did make his way up here. Is that correct? Okay, so we're going to ask Mr. Travato and Linda Cuthbert to come up. They're both running for the school board. And I have one question for this group. And it, of course, was submitted by our members of our community. Since George was late, I'm going to make him go first. All right. And then maybe you can copy him or... All right, Mr. Travato, what is your opinion on the role of the school board in the prevention and elimination of bullying in schools?
That's a good question. We had a similar question that regarded policies of what to do when kids bully each other, but also try to imitate, like pointing a finger at somebody and getting, saying, I'm going to shoot you, and they arrest a 6th grader for doing that. The role of the school board is to set policies. We want to set policies so that teachers can teach, and that tolerance of bullying is not allowed in the school system, and it's dealt with. And it needs to be dealt with on several levels. One is we need to teach our teachers on how to identify those issues, because a lot of times what I hear as an attorney, I get parents that come to my office and want to know what can be done about it. The teachers are either looking the other way or they're not identifying the needs of the children who are the victims who are being bullied. So we need to teach our teachers how to identify that issue. But then more importantly, we need to train them to let the students know that it's not accepted and what the proper behavior in the classroom is. So as a school board member, I think the policies that we set have to be realistic, practical, and have to be implemented.
Thank you, George.
We have a very productive bullying policy already in the school board. Guidance counselors have gone through training. Teachers have also had support training. I've gone through a bullying workshop. I think what we can improve upon is we could have a designated receiver of information from the community. If anyone knows parents know of a student who's being bullied, one person can handle it. I think in the guidance department, that would be an excellent idea. The guidance director could designate someone, and that way we have one person so that the teachers can go to if they see it in the classroom. They can go to one person to handle it. Administration knows who that one person is. The health department knows who that one person is. Attorneys know who that one person is. We have a good policy already. It's the enforcement of it. And we're all human beings. We never want anyone to be bullied. We don't want educators to be bullied by students, and we don't want educators bullying students. We don't want kids bullying one another. But we also have to remember picking on one another is also part of growing up. And we have to train children from the outset good social behavior, and good teachers do that. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you very much. All right, now's where it's interesting. We're going to bring up all the folks that are running for Edgewater City Commission and Mayor. So that'll be Mr. Gene Emter, Mike Ignasiak, Christine Power, Dennis Dolbo, Gary Conroy, and Robert Wilkie. And I have 2 questions for each of you.
Oh boy.
Ladies first.
Hey DJ Tom, you want to dim the lights, put on a slow song?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be busy.
I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start from this side and go down and try to stay in the same order, and we'll come back in the same order, okay? Or in the opposite order, excuse me. The first question, and I'll repeat it if you'd like it when it's your turn. What do you see as the most important issue facing the city of Edgewater currently and in the near future, and how would you attempt to address these issues if elected to the council? After you, sir.
I think it's a two-prong attack or plan. Ms. Cusack and Ms. Northey, if you were listening, you were talking about the CRAs. That's so important to Edgewater that you guys approve it. Yes? You make that motion? Second? Okay. And then on your ballot, you're going to have this. Everybody heard her. Anyway, CRA, if anybody's taking a ride, and you don't have to go all the way to 1792 to see the effects of beautifully aesthetic planning, is if you go up to South Daytona and you hit that city line and all the way to Bevel Road, how beautiful it is. You don't see a telephone pole. You don't see a power line. That's what we need to do when you want to get business in and people come for a ride to Florida like my parents did in 1987 when they're trying to shake me and trying to lose me, but I got their address. So what you want to do is aesthetically pretty, and go up to South Daytona. Just look at that. It's so nice. And then on your ballots for cities Edgewater is going to be the tax abatement. That's going to give businesses opportunity to come in. We're going to give them an abatement for 10 years. Come on in, move to the industrial park, the biggest one. The city and the county as partnership, they're going to widen their roads all the way down to Old Mission Road. Rob wants to give me some advice. Go ahead, Rob. Oh. Anyway, tax abatement, CRAs, that's the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Gary Conroy. Next we'll have Mr. Chuck Martin.
Hey everybody, let me fix this. Married with 3 children. In my opinion, the most important thing, thank you. The most important thing here is recycling. I'm a recycler, okay? I built the first household hazardous waste site at the Volusia County landfill in 1988-ish. I built it with these 2 hands. You pour a slab, people bring their paints and their pesticides just like at the county, and you trade them. And that way they're not going in the garbage cans. And how do I know they're going in the garbage cans? Because I used to dig in garbage cans when the recession hit, and I'm a recycler and I'm a scrapper, and I'd pick that stuff up, and I'm not too proud to say that I scrapped to help to support my family during the recession. She lost her job at Williams, but you know what? I did it, and I supported my family. Okay, household hazardous waste site, City of Edgewater. And we need to line up some dumpsters where people can bring all kinds of TVs and computers and all that stuff, put them in these dumpsters. Anything that's metal, spoons, knives, forks, put them in there, okay? Bring all your stuff to the City of Edgewater. We man it with people in college that want to do internships. We had them stand in the line at the Volusia County landfill, okay, recycling. That's what I want to do.
Thank you. Mr. Ignasiak?
I too only have one wife, so we'll stay with that. Families and communities. Maintaining the quality of our communities while we grow, I see as the biggest challenge. I told you, change is coming to Edgewater. And we want to grow, but we don't want to change and become something else that we're not. And with growth, and the growth is coming, we can feel it, we can sense it. It's going to start west of 95. It's going to come along US 1. The economic incentives and issues are in there. The economy is starting to come back. But with the growth, there comes choices, and there comes trade-offs. And you need to make the right choices and the right trade-offs so it doesn't have a negative effect on your community, and it doesn't cause problems or unattended consequences, they're called, that later develop through there. That's why when these changes come in with growth and business and industries coming in and everybody wants them there, you also have to look at the other side. What's coming with it that we may not want? Too much traffic, too much noise, too much pollution. You have to carefully examine these things and make the right choices, because once that choice is made, you can't go back. And once you lose the quality of life or you lose the identity of your community, it doesn't come back either. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we have Robert Wilkie.
Well, I think it first starts with community. When I first moved to Edgewater 28 years ago, I found that a small, nice town that I really enjoyed. I think that we're getting away from that in Edgewater. I see Riverside being one part, I see Florida Shores being another, and with now the new West End coming in, I think that's going to be a totally different end. I think we need to bring our community together, a nice town center. We need industry. Only way you're going to bring industry is by bringing people to our town to show that they love our town. We are a river town. People love Mosquito Lagoon. My neighbor moved here because he loves fishing. We don't utilize that. We have to build a marina. We have to have fishing tournaments. We have to get our people more involved and bring community together. That's how you're going to bring money in, is by people caring about the community. I look at some of the things we've had that we've wasted money on. We have beautiful baseball fields that we put a lot of money into. We maintain that property, and we don't even play baseball on it. New Smyrna has the league. My son plays in New Smyrna. Where's money going to? New Smyrna. Let's make it work down there. We have stage. We just started using that stage. We've had that stage for 8 years. We are just starting to put things together. Let's work our stuff together and bring it together more as a community is what I feel, and money will come because it's just the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Christine Power?
All right, I'm going to get on the CRA bandwagon because that is an important one. But I think what we have to remember is while the growth that's coming to the west of Edgewater, out by 95, it's coming in. While that's happening, boosting our economy, helping with our tax base, we cannot forget the Route 1 corridor, because that is the backbone of our city. That's where everyone who lives here now, that's where they have their businesses, that's where hopefully they're doing their shopping, they're going to their service people. And the CRA is important because while this growth is happening out to the west, we can be helping the businesses on Route 1 get spruced up. And the CRA is an interesting thing because it takes a few years for it to kick in. I mean, it can take 10 years for there to be enough money in the fund to actually do some bigger projects. So what happens in the meantime? Community involvement, things that happen hopefully from the council level down. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Mr. Dennis Dolbo.
I think we all agree that the CRA is probably one of the most important things that we need. Not only do we need that, we need to build the framework to once we get them from the county council, and I see that may be happening, we have to build that framework so it's just not doled out to frivolous things. I think it's very important, and I think we need to set up a committee that makes sure that that doesn't happen. I think the other important thing for our city is the development that's coming on the west of 95. We have to make sure that our infrastructure is prepared. We need to make sure that our police department is prepared, our fire department, schools, and all those things. And to make sure that that happens, we need to work as a team, as a community, and make sure that it happens.
Thank you, Dennis. Mr. Empter?
Much has been said about economic development, and I'm totally in support of that. I think the most important element is how we plan for, strategic planning for economic development. We've mentioned the CRA. Ms. Cusick and Mrs. Northey will tell you how I've been actively pursuing that from the county council. It is critically important. But some of the other things are important too. For example, I think in Edgewater we have a need for better communication between our residents and the city. I would like to see formats that can bring these people together, to bring businesses together, neighborhoods, look for neighborhood improvement situations, work better with businesses. These two are also very important, and I would see that as a part of the vision of Edgewater.
Thank you, Gene. Mr. Blasey?
It's been said by everyone about economic development, how important it is for our city. But let's go ahead and talk, how does that happen? How do we accomplish that? We've talked about CRAs, tax abatements, and I'm a proponent for all of these things. What we have to do as a city and as a council is to enter into partnership with other governmental bodies, with nonprofits, with private sector businesses, and work with each other. Now, there tends to be an us versus them syndrome that I have seen many times at the council level of Edgewater. We need to get rid of that. That has to go over. Okay. Just recently, on a 3-2 vote, the present city council went against what's known as joining Team Volusia, which I personally am very passionate about and feel that it would have been an excellent forum or an excellent tool for us to go ahead, enter into partnerships, have those resources to be able to entice businesses on a national, even international level to come into Edgewater, take a look at our park town. It was called frivolous spending. Now, of course, this was recommended unanimously by our Economic Development Board and also recommended by the President of the Chamber. But that was frivolous spending. It's called calculated investments. Now, if there's a war to be fought, you listen to the generals and the soldiers, okay? When it comes to economic development, we really do need to listen to our business leaders, our private sector businesses, and our other governmental bodies. Look at what works, what tools are proven, and implement those tools. And I thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Blasey, you can probably stay right there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm first up now.
And let me ask you a question. Did I leave a copy of this up there?
So what?
My second question, and you probably answer it very quickly, or we can just put the tape on repeat. What is your position on the City of Edgewater joining Team Volusia? Please explain.
Oh, okay, there you go. Hey, I'm an advocate for Team Volusia, and the specific reason is this: is having a voice, being able to play ball. Okay, you can't play ball if you don't go into the field. You can't if you can't sit there and have a voice at the table. Complain all you want to, but the fact of the matter is if you don't have a voice, it doesn't matter. They're not going, you're not going to be able to influence anything. And you can sit back and say, well, see, there's Volusia again. What do they ever do for us? Well, guess what? You didn't even show up to begin with. So I think we need to show up. We need to have a voice. We need to be able to speak and also help control our destiny, because guess what? The county will go ahead and assist us in that if we don't have a voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. Gene, what is your position on the City of Edgewater joining Team Volusia?
I also support the Team Volusia. If we take a look at the different elements, you've got the City of Edgewater with a single person hired to do economic development, but there's other duties that come in and play with that. You've got a small budget for that department. If you take Team Volusia, you've got 6 people with credentials out the door. They've got a $1 million budget. They have people who are well attuned to the business world. They go to various conventions. They do a lot of things right. They know what they're doing. So when we look at the comparison between Edgewater and Team Volusia, there is no doubt that Team Volusia has the resources that Edgewater doesn't have. And we need to leverage those resources in order to help our own economic development.
Thank you, Mr. Emter. Mr. Dolbo?
As a small business owner, I am all for Team Volusia. We need to play ball with everyone in our county. They have the tools. They have the ability to help us, and that's going to create a great economic development tool for us.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm pretty sure that I'm on record as being for Team Volusia. In the council meeting, we agreed to disagree on that point. I know a couple of the other council members were very firmly against us joining. So I don't really want to get into that again. For me, even the money to at least be involved with it was not frivolous. I thought that it would be well spent to be part of it, and the towns that were cited as not being part of Team Volusia are very nice towns, but they're extremely small, so I can see why they would not need to be involved with Team Volusia in that, or could not even put that on their budget. But I felt that that Edgewater was equal in what we wanted to see with New Smyrna and some of the other towns that are involved in it. Now, is it a wait and see? It's a wait and see. Team Volusia, because we're part of the taxpayers in Volusia, they are working with Edgewater, even though we are not directly involved with it. And for that, I'm grateful that we're part of that picture in that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wilkie.
Okay, so I am a business owner, but I'm on the fence with it. I don't know enough about it to really speak a lot about it, but I want to find more about it. What I mean by that is we're Team Volusia. If they're bringing industry to Daytona or Port Orange, people already want to come to Port Orange. They already want to come to New Smyrna. Edgewater's a little smaller. When you talk about giving $25,000 out, you're talking about somebody's salary that works for the city. Okay? That's a lot of money to somebody who needs a job. Now, show me the stats and show me the paperwork that, yes, in our smaller communities, like maybe Deltona or even smaller than that, if money's being brought in, and let's say it's like, I consider Edgewater close to almost like maybe a little bigger than Osteen, but not as big as Deltona. If they show me they're bringing industry to these towns of Volusia that are smaller and the stats are there, then I'm all for it. But if it's not showing that they're bringing a lot of stuff to Daytona, to Port Orange, and it's not going to these smaller towns for industry, then I'm against it. So I have to learn more about it to even be honest with you and tell you what I want. But show me the stats. As a business owner, I'm about showing what needs to be done. Show me that it's coming in, and show me that you're working for me and not working for other people around, not working for me, then I'm against it. So in that sense, that's all I can say about it, is that I hope it works out either way. Want to learn more about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Point well taken. 3 separate Edgewater City Councils have rejected membership in Team Volusia over 4 years. There's a specific reason for that. Our interests were not aligned with the interests of Team Volusia, which is after much bigger fish, and it was in a different part of the county. You take a look at their history, their first year was an absolute disaster. Their director ran off, they didn't really accomplish anything. Still, we decided to wait and follow. We heard stories, we saw newspaper articles, we saw editorials, everything's in the pipeline. Oh, we've got 50 different references going here and there. I don't care what they say, I look at what they do. And quite frankly, there was another article which came out several months ago which basically stated that if Team Volusia was a private enterprise, they probably would have been dissolved after 4 years for dismal results on the financial market. We sat as a council, we listened to our economic development thing, and even our own economic development board, when it came time at that council meeting, not a single member showed up. I don't know where the term frivolous came up, but it wasn't involved in any of those conversations. When they came back a second time to the council and we asked them, show us a reason why we should change our mind and go with them, they couldn't provide anything. But to be sure, I went around and I talked to other elected officials here in New Smyrna and asked them, quite frankly, what Team Volusia had done for them over their years and their money. And I got the answer, quite frankly, really nothing. I've been campaigning for months. I did this last year, I did this year, and when I'm not knocking on doors, I explain what Team Volusia is, I explain what our Economic Development Council is proposing, and I ask them, should we give the money to join that group, or should the money stay here in Edgewater? Unanimously chose each time, keep the money here, and I'm proud to say $100,000 stayed inside Edgewater community. Thank you.
Mr. Martin?
I guess this is all about being honest. I don't know enough about it, honestly. I really don't. I've heard both sides. But honestly, I think the people should decide, as citizens of Edgewater. Maybe we could get the word out to them. And, well, if elected, I got a whole year. But get the word out to them and let them come in and talk about it and maybe take a vote on it. You know, I feel, yeah, if it could help our, bring in our town there and bring some industry in, sure. But if it's just going to be wasted, no. I mean, there's a lot of other things that money could be spent on in Edgewater. You know, maybe the Grace House or some food banks. You know, because I know people in Edgewater. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, Rob and Chuck said it well. When you become a candidate, there's a lot to learn. You're reading charters and codes, phone calls, radio interviews, newspaper interviews. So it is you would not believe. People call your house, Gary, I'll vote for you if I get a sewer. I said, I'll be right over with my shovel. I mean, what can they tell somebody like that? So Team Volusia, I think one of the problems, and they're all back me up here, the people, one of the problems Edgewater's always had, we didn't have representatives going to these meetings, county-wide meetings, MPO. Edgewater didn't have a voice at the table of a lot of planning in the county. You got to send a strong personality, and I hope you can tell I'm not a shy person. I'm going to sit there and bang the table for Edgewater. I believe in Team Volusia, and give them a chance, give them the money, but you got to send a strong person up there, make sure we get our due. Plain and simple. You just can't sit back and wait. You got to go up there and see what's going on and get in the weeds and see what they're doing. Get hands on. I'm for Team Volusia. Thank you.
How about a big round of applause for everybody? Thank you so much for your participation. Next, I'd like to have the representatives running for commission and for mayor in the city of New Smyrna Beach, Mr. Jack Grasty, Jim Hathaway, Jake Sachs, and Steve Sather. And it looks like Mr. Mike Finaro already gave me the order of these folks. So we have 2 questions. And on question number 1, I'm going to ask that Mr. Jack Grasty go first. And if you need me to, I'll repeat the question when it becomes your turn, gentlemen. What is your personal position on growth in New Smyrna Beach, and what would your approach, if any, be to managing growth?
Growth is going to come to New Smyrna. It's how we deal with it. Responsible growth, along with big problems that we have to look at it very carefully. We do not want to give away the farm, but we want growth to come to provide jobs for our children and my grandchildren that live here. I have a beautiful daughter who was here earlier as a professor at UCF. She lives here now, and she commutes. I have a grandson that's going away to college. I want them to be able to come back. It's responsibility, and that's what we're here for, is to be responsible to you, to the citizens of New Smyrna Beach, to provide a good tax base good public service, and a good feel of life. Because this is a special place, and I love it. And I don't want it to change dramatically or radically. I want it to do the job we want it to do. Be able to safe, walk down the streets. Canal Street 4 years ago was a ghost town. Last night, there was very few parking places. It's revitalized. Flagler Street's the same way. We have issues, yes, but we can control them. And we're doing an excellent job. The City Commission is doing an excellent job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Next on this one, we'll have Jim Hathaway.
Obviously, growth is going to happen, change is going to occur. It's how you manage that growth and how you use it in a responsible way. I bring a business background of 40 years of small business in New Smyrna Beach. Most of you people came here and found this little paradise and you adopted it as your new home. I was blessed to be born here and raised here, so I'm certainly not going to do anything that's going to destroy what I've come to know as New Smyrna Beach, the character and the charm and what it means to me and my family. I've been also blessed to have one of my children actually lives in New Smyrna Beach right now. My youngest son lives out in Venetian Bay. And I'm very happy that at least one of my 4 children could reside in New Smyrna Beach. I think it's a great testimony to being able to bring people back, bring our children who are educated in this area, bring them back, give them a job, and that's what it's about. It's about creating jobs. What kind of incentives are we going to give to businesses? Well, we have an issue on the ballot for our citizens to determine. Do they want to allow a tax incentive to go to a business to bring jobs? And if they do, they're going to have to give up some tax dollars out of their pocket to make it work. So there's a trade-off, and I'll work with the citizens however way they want to go with it. But I can tell you, I will be a strong mayor. I will work very well with the citizens of New Smyrna Beach, and I'll lead the city in the path you want it to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Mr. Jake Sachs, would you please?
Currently in America, there's a movement called Smart Growth America. I would love for New Smyrna to be one of those model cities. New Smyrna is on the cusp of a possibly dangerous growth that we are seeing in the state of Florida. I don't know if many of you follow ARP magazine. I know a lot of us are of that age, but currently Florida has possibly exceeded its natural resources for the population that we have. I have been labeled a no-growth person. This is the furthest thing from the truth. I am for growth. We need economic development. We also need our environment. We are an ecotourist-based economy. We're surrounded by water. Basically, Volusia County is a sponge, and we'd like to keep that sponge clean. So I would like to see businesses and environmental interests come together and work out a cooperative agreement where we can have a sustainable environment, a sustainable economy with some reasonable away from our natural resources like our water wells and fields out between us and Samsula, and possibly we can take our city as a model city for others to look forward to say we want to be like New Smyrna Beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sachs. Next we have Mr. Steve Sather.
Thank you. Managing our growth in our economy. Let me start by saying that I'm going to answer some things categorically. I've spent 4 terms on the Planning and Zoning Board. I have a few ideas on this. So that you know, I have a little bit of a background with environment because of the fact that I've got a Master Naturalist Certificate in Coastal Environment, helped form the Marine Discovery Center because I care. So let me go categorically, and I'm going to start west of the city. If we look at Venetian Bay, we've done that, and I was on the board when we did it. We did it with a village concept. The idea was to polarize and to bring the gallon of milk and the loaf of bread shoppers into the center instead of dumping traffic out onto Turnbull and 44. And anything that develops 5 is going to have to follow that plan. That's one way to kind of contain some of the traffic and grow. We've got, and we also have annexation. Annexation brought us $20 million worth of property into the city last year. It's also going to bring that ad valorem share from the county. Coming back into 44, we have to be careful how many curb cuts we have. In other words, how much traffic goes in and out and how often. The frontage roads that we have along there will be very important. The architecture that we get out there, the landscape that we get that for the next 50 years. So we have to very carefully manage our growth out there. I have a background for that kind of thing. Then let me just go to the bottom line on all this. I support the CRA, I support the tax abatement, but let me say it to you this way. The higher the value of the community, lower the rate can be for everyone and get the revenue that we need. Simple. Ad valorem is the value of the land, the value of the building, and the value of use. We need to attract high-value businesses. Businesses will bring great value and bring us jobs and better paying jobs in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. All right, so I have a different order here, and we're going to start with Mr. Jake Sachs. And the question that was submitted and chosen is, why do you believe that you would be the better choice over your opponent to serve as city commissioner in New Smyrna Beach?
My vested interests are the citizens of New Smyrna Beach. I'm not connected to any special interests. I would like to be the candidate that looks at things from an objective point of view, from basically not an insider's point of view, but an outsider's point of view. Again, I'd like to reiterate that I have a life of public service, and most important to me is the quality of life for all of my neighbors, and of course myself. But I think there's a slight difference is my opponent has been here for quite a while. He's a planner and zoner. He may have some special interests in what projects may go into the city. I hope those are projects that we would all find accommodatable and professional, which would give us enough open space and a quality of life that we can all afford, not the urban sprawl that we see everywhere else in Florida. I certainly would not want to see a concrete jungle on our beach side, which I think has been promoted by a lot of people, including my opponent, regarding large hotels on the beach. And I don't think they're appropriate or compatible with the lifestyle that we lead in New Smyrna. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Next up, we have Mr. Steve Sather.
Thank you very much. I'm a 27-year full-time resident of New Smyrna Beach. I understand our environment, I understand transportation, and yes, I understand planning and zoning. And no, categorically, I have not promoted a concrete jungle. Just the opposite. I've stood for a great balance in our growth and development. Look at the record. And that record is 4 terms in planning and zoning, a year in code enforcement, being appointed to the county's first committee on environmental learning centers, and protecting your environment. Come on. I was on that founding committee for the Marine Discovery Center. But also I understand economics and I understand growth and development and how they work together. So folks, I just want you to understand very simply, I have a great deal of knowledge. I have a phenomenal amount of experience. I've been a go-to person for a lot of people. I don't represent any special interest, but you know what? The business community in this city comes to me and asks questions because I can help in many cases. So let me just put it to you this way. I'm the candidate that can protect your wallet, improve the quality of life, keep your taxes down, and protect your environment and your history. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. The question is the same for the next 2 candidates, except, of course, it's not for City Commission, it's for Mayor. So we're going to start with Mr. Jim Hathaway. Why do you believe that you would be the better choice over your opponent to serve as Mayor of New Smyrna Beach?
First off, I have the history of being born and raised in New Smyrna Beach. I have the background of serving this city for over 21 years as not only an appointed official, but an elected official. I've served 18 and a half years as the Zone 2 or Zone 3 City Commissioner, and I've served 5 years as the Vice Mayor of the City of New Smyrna Beach. On top of that, I've been the President, the Vice President, and Secretary Treasurer of the Volusia League of Cities. I've served on the Board of Directors of the Florida League of Cities, and I've been a member of many, many boards from the Florida League of Cities. So I have the definite background as far as leadership within our government. I'm also a 40-year businessman, from having run a grocery store and coin laundry on Flagler Avenue, now running a bread distributorship, which I own here in Southeast Volusia. I bring the common sense I bring the business background, which I believe is very important when you're looking at a budget, when you're making up a budget, and when you realize when you have to raise taxes, how that impacts that small businessman, how it impacts everybody's pocket. So, you know, I've been a servant of this city, and I've tried over the years to keep your taxes low, and I think I've done a good job. I think that's why I was reelected 4 times. So I believe I have a much better grasp of what's going on in this community than my opponent, and it's up to you now to weigh both of our abilities and see who you want as your next mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. And Mr. Grasty, the same question, please.
Thank you. I love this town. Came in 1967, the first time in the Air Force. I was stationed in Orlando. After Vietnam, I came back. And I dug my roots here, my family, my kids. I spent over 30 years working in this city to rebuild all the electric system. I worked on every street, every ditch, every hole. Canal Street, when they was redoing it. I have walked through the floodwaters on Maryland, Islesboro. Turnbull Bay Bridge had over 6 inches of water coming over the bridge. We kept the power on. Hurricane David, we worked hard. Then I got into management, and the budget is, when we worked on, is a lot larger than the city budget, by almost $10 million. From a $58 million city budget to almost a $70 million utility budget. I have worked diligently with the city. I was on the YMCA board. I'm a director. The Port Authority Advisory Board for the county for 4 years. Marine Discovery, still on the Marine Discovery, volunteer, and numerous volunteer things that I have done. And I continue and will continue to do that, and I hope you vote for me for the mayor.
Thank you, Jack. And let's give all these gentlemen a round of applause. Very well. Well, this almost concludes our event. I just want to thank everybody for coming out here, all of our candidates, all of the citizens, all of the business owners. It shows that I think everybody here genuinely cares about Southeast Volusia and our state of Florida. So applause, please. Thank you so much. I also want to thank our sponsors, Rice & Rose Law Firm, our staff at the Southeast Volusia Chamber of Commerce, all the volunteers who spent countless hours putting this together. Thank you all so much, and have a great evening. See you on November 4th. Thanks. Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you for coming.